As it stands at the moment, this has got to be one of New Zealand's best opportunities to make a World Cup for quite some time. How do you approach that with that level of expectation that you're on the verge of, something pretty special here?
Look, yeah, we know we're favourites to progress, but we've got two extremely hard games in front of us. First time with Fiji here in Wellington, and they're going to cause us problems. We know that, but we believe we've got the capabilities of progressing, and we have to, rightly so, put our best foot forward to be able to do that.
It's an unusual position for New Zealand when it comes to World Cups to be playing these sorts of games where you are in fact the favourite. Is that a bit strange? Does that take a little bit of adjustment to how you prepare?
I think mentally it does. I think footballing wise it's pretty normal. We have to do what we do best on the pitch, implement what Bays puts us on the training pitch into the game. But mentally you have to change a little bit. It's not often us as a national team are favourites and can play like favourites, so that takes a little bit different and teams set up differently. But yeah, it's one of those we've got to take that challenge on.
You've obviously got plenty of experience. You're playing in obviously the EPL. You can help with that in terms of the team and some of the younger guys and getting them mentally in the right space.
Yeah, most definitely. That's what us older boys are here for. We've been through it all before. Boxy's the same, Tommy's the same, and even Roofs and Painey and things like that. So we've got a good squad like that, has everything that can push forward and do extremely well to help the younger players through. But they've also been now in the setup for 3 years, and they've proven they're capable of dealing with situations like this.
Tell me about this squad. Looking at it, there's a mix of a lot of obviously younger players, players like yourself playing in Europe, but also a mix of Phoenix and now Auckland FC players. What is this team? How do you rate this team at the moment? What do you think they're capable of?
I think it's a very exciting team. As you say, we've got a lot of different players from different parts of the world, and I think having Auckland FC come into the environment has helped the national team as well, to give people pathways of being playing in professional football and doing extremely well, and Auckland FC are top of the league doing very well. So this team is probably one of the better ones that have been across in history, but they have to prove that on the pitch to class themselves as one of those, and making a World Cup is the way to do that.
The FC and Nick's boys getting on all right?
They are indeed, yeah. They're not too bad. I'm sure there's a bit of bragging rights going across with the Auckland boys, but I'm sure the Phoenix boys will be out next season ready to go.
What sort of game do you want to play going into this World Cup campaign? Assuming everything goes well with these two qualifying games, what sort of a approach do you want New Zealand to play at a World Cup if you get that opportunity?
We're setting out our identity of how we want to play the last 3 years. We know we can't be naive when we play big teams or play in a World Cup stage, but we've also got to be brave and take teams on. So you're going to have a balance like that. When we get there or when we can hopefully have a chance of being there, we're going to have to adapt and be ready to who we take on and things like that, but that's in future problems.
Where do you see the advantage? What do you see the strengths in this all-white side, as in terms of what you can look to as an advantage and the way in which you play?
I think the biggest one will be off the pitch with our culture and the way we bond together, and then bringing on the youth and experience, both mixing them well and together. We've got a very capable side of playing good football at the same time, and then we've got the team that can be rough and rugged at the same time. So I think we've got a good balance all around. Coming
back, well, firstly, what brings you back? You're playing in the EPL. You've now racked up 77 caps for the All Whites, I think it is. You probably would have got a pass, wouldn't you, if you said you couldn't make it back for these games? What brings you back to New Zealand all that way, all that travel from such an important league to play these games?
The love of the country, the ambitions to want to achieve something big in this footballing history, and that's what it will be if we can get through these two games. Being the third team to qualify for a World Cup is absolutely fantastic if we're capable of doing that, and that's a bit of history that I want to be a part of.
You think you can win a game at a World Cup?
I believe we can. I believe that will be our goal if we're there to win a game and progress out into the group stages.
Do you're playing with the best players in the world every day, week in, week out, and some of the other guys there are in some good leagues as well. But how challenging is it mentally for the team to think that it can compete with some of those big nations?
I think it's the mentality of have proven it, and I believe they can. The squad's only getting bigger and better, and moving on to bigger and better clubs and things like that. We've just seen, obviously, Marco's coming to us, Tyler's coming to us. They're proving around the world that they're good enough and capable enough to play in the best leagues in the world. And it's one of those that just got to keep achieving and keep doing well.
Your level of, well, let's put it bluntly, stardom in this country has gone through the roof. Like, as someone who's probably more of naturally of a rugby fan, although I have a son who's very keen on football, the sport here has exploded, and you seem to have been right at the peak of that. Are you aware of that? Are you aware of the impact that you have on a generation of young boys and girls playing football?
I don't get to see it as much as I'm sure I'd like to, and be able to connect with the fans back here as much as I want to. But I know that I've got a higher responsibility of the next generation is looking at me and looking at knowing there is a dream and capabilities of being in the best league in the world, like what I was when I was younger and looking at Ryan playing in this league. There's an avenue, there's a pathway that dreams can come true, and that hopefully all the generations below and the kids that are playing football now, that they look up to myself and the other players playing across Europe, knowing that they can make it there and can make a career and have a very good one at that stage.
Yeah, I mean, there's making it, and then there's yourself, where you're fourth leading goal scorer in the league. You're playing in a team that's looking like they might make Europe next year. Has this year been, tell us about this year, because it just seems extraordinary that you have reached a level there that, did you ever imagine you could get to?
I believed I could. You always got to have belief in yourself, dreams in yourself. Whether you hit them, that's down to the world that we live in.
And you're feeling the pressure on that now, that you're marked as someone who's a goal scorer in the EPL, one of the best?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, teams change and teams try to affect you differently, both as a player and as a team. As Nottingham Forest, we've done extremely well, and we're up there on merit to where we've been able to achieve, but we've got 9 massive games left to go to achieve what we want to achieve, and hopefully we'll be able to come out on top that way.
Is playing in Europe a big dream of yours? I mean, that seems to be on the cusp.
Look, yeah, I mean, I'm thankful enough to be able to play in the Europa League before, as some of the boys in this team have. Never played Champions League football. It has always been a dream. We've put ourselves in a great position to be able to achieve that, but we've still got to go out there and do it. You've
re-signed with Nottingham Forest. I mean, you talked about the younger players and looking in the pathway through. It must be nice to know you've got some stability in the sense that because you've been around a few clubs. It's not been necessarily an easy path, has it?
No, and life is never always easy. It's never upward trajectory all the whole way. It's up and down. It's like a wave. You have to enjoy the highs and just try to ride out the lows and bounce back as soon as possible. But yeah, I've very much enjoyed my time at Forest. I'm thankful enough to have another couple of years there, and hopefully there's a lot more to achieve in those couple of years.
Do you ever see yourself coming back and spending your twilight years at one of these 2 pro clubs that are now playing in New Zealand, the Knicks or FC? Look, yeah, I actually do. I believe there might be an opportunity one day to come back here and play a year back here or something like that. Any particular club in mind? There's the Knicks fan over here.
Both teams are high on my radar if I do come back. I love New Zealand as a whole. It wouldn't matter if I was living in Wellington or living in Auckland. So yeah, I think that's something that I can look to in the future. But I've got a lot more I want to achieve over in Europe before maybe coming back.
Awesome. And I see post-football, I've seen your comments that you're quite interested in commentary. Is that something you're actually keen on having a look at one day?
Look, yeah, I do like that. I like commentary. I like maybe punditry type thing in that side of it. Yeah, it's something that I'll try and double my hand into. If I'm any good, then I'm sure I'll keep going with it. If I'm not, I'll be told and then throw by the wayside.
Final question for my 15-year-old son, which is, who is the toughest defender in the EPL that you've had to encounter in your time so far this year?
Van Dijk. Without a shadow of a doubt. He's a Rolls Royce of a defender. He's got everything: strong, quick, reads the game so well. He is probably the best. He is the best centre-back in the Premier League, in my opinion.
He was one of the names mentioned. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.